happens? That anchor catches and will turn that boat around. Not only will it stop it, but it will begin to swing it around if it's got any kind of momentum. So he put an anchor in Peter's mind. He began to think. He began to pray, prepare him for what he was about to do. Are you letting the Spirit of God prepare you for what God is about to do? In you, first of all, and secondly, through you. Are you letting Him prepare you? Are you letting Him change your mind, change the way you think? Amen? You know, I often think that I have a favorite movie that's a comedy, and I don't often talk about him. It's kind of a wild guy, but I like the movie, and it's The Master of Disguise. Did you look at that?
I know that.
It's Dana Carvey, I think is his name. But I don't much like him. I like the concept. I like the movie. You know, okay. And that's the only thing I've ever probably watched of him and liked. But he's the master of disguise. His whole family was the Disguises, or whatever their name was. They were. I know it's kind of funny. And they're these. This is the family tradition, and the family business is their master of disguise. They have these disguises they put on, and their mantra that they have to say to change into the other disguise is become another person.
Become a what? Become another person.
Become another person, and I think that is it. I think I got it. If I might have been a little while since I watched it. And that's the way most Christians do, not in a good sense. They go to church, oh, I must become another person. I must become another person. I must become a religious person. I'm going to church. I must act a certain way. Become another person. Become another, and that's what they do. They come home. They leave church, and now they become another person. They go to work. They become another person. You see, God is wanting us to become another person and stay that way. Become like Jesus and stay that way. You see, that's their mantra. We need the mantra, become another person. Become like Jesus and stay that way. That's just a little side. But, you know, that's what I'm... Huh?
That preaches.
And so, you know, for those of you that have seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm saying. When he does that, he becomes an Englishman, or he becomes a clown, or he becomes, you know, whatever. He takes on the habits, the personality, and everything of the other person. But, you know, God doesn't want... I mean, He wants us to become another person, yes. Become like Jesus and stay there. Now, in the movie, the oldest family member, who's the... I guess he would have been... He's not the grandparent, he's the dad. He takes on the person that he gets kidnapped by the villain, and the villain... uses him, and he changes into these other people, famous people, and steals stuff for the villain. But the last one he does, he takes on the disguise or the personality of the villain, and something that the villain does, he can't get out of it. Why? Because he wants the villain, him, the disguisee, whatever their last name is, I can't remember it. Dana's is Pistachio. Is his first name Pistachio or something? Anyway, it's funny. But
he's enjoying it.
anyways, the dad of Pistachio, becomes the villain, and so that the villain does something to keep him, make him stay as the villain. He cannot change back. In other words, so he's taking on the personality so he can take the blame, so he can go to jail. You know, he's the villain, he's going to jail. And so, what did I go there? So, you know, well, you see, we got there by, most Christians are that way. They become another person. They chant their mantra, they go to church, they chant their mantra, become a religious person. So they become a religious person. They go home, become a family, you know, man, or a family person. Or they go to society, they're a Rotary Club, or they become another person, you know. But we're not to become another person. You know, we're to become like Jesus, one person, and that's Jesus, and hold it and stop, and be there, and hold that. I don't know how I got here, but I got here. It's the wrong one, Lisa. It's the other thing. So what am I saying? Let's see. Anyway, so that's the whole thing of the movie, and that I just kind of, you know,
like that movie.
I like that movie.
We have it before you can take it home.
And you know, I don't really like the actor that much. I just like the movie.
It was just a generational thing. That's the generation I didn't watch much.
Oh, okay.
Joseph
Anyway,
made me.
but so that's the way most Christians, you know. So we need to become like Jesus. You know, our mantra should be become like Jesus and never get out of that mold. That's where I was going. Let me move on here before
you get back there.
Yeah. Anyway,
You did have a point.
I did have a point. Yep. So that was verse. So Peter was working to remove the old, to reach beyond what he knew, his own experience, his understanding, and understand what and where the Spirit of God was trying to lead him. You know, the vision was to motivate his thinking. Said that. Verse 30 through 33. I'm just paraphrasing some of this. Should I paraphrase? Yeah, let's read 27. And okay, they came to get Peter. Cornelius had sent, you know, some men to get Peter. Peter came, and he continued to talk with him. He went into the house, Cornelius' house, and found a great crowd had gathered. Verse 28, and he said to him, "You know that it is against the law for a Jew." See, right away, what is Peter doing? He's reciting, "Now I know, and I know you know, what? That it's against the law for a Jew to associate with a foreigner," or anyone other than a Jew, a Gentile, we would say, "or to visit one. But," here's the but, and it shows that the vision had been working on Peter, that Peter was beginning to get the message, right? It was beginning to change him. He said, "But God has taught me not to call any man common or ceremonially unclean. So I have come." So Peter was getting the message. "Since I was sent for without hesitation." So it had begun to change Peter. It began to prepare Peter, the vessel, to reach out and do the will of God, and that is to reach beyond the Jewish nation, the Hebrew people, and to reach out to the Gentiles. Verse 30 says, "Then Cornelius said, 4 days ago, from this hour, the 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I was praying in my house, and all at once a man in dazzling clothing stood before me and said, 'Cornelius, your prayer has been heard, and your deeds of..." Slow down. Has been heard, and your deeds of charity have been remembered by God." That's neat, isn't it? Mm-hmm. God heard your prayers. God sees your deeds of charity. Amen? And remembers them. So he sent to Joppa, and he sent for Peter. We already understand that. And so he's here. And so the last part of that verse is, "So now we're all here in God's presence to listen to anything that the Lord has commanded you to say." Isn't that neat? Well, let's step back a sense. God prepares your flesh to hear what he has to say. Come on now.
Amen.
You know, he had already prepared Peter. He put Peter in kind of a state of fasting, didn't he? Peter was hungry. He didn't have any food. He was hungry. He kind of set the flesh aside, in a kind of a temporary sense. But he had prepared us. God prepares your flesh to hear the revelation. Isn't that something? He prepares your life. He prepares your mind. He prepares you. Just as much here as he was preparing a people to hear the message, but take it back. Take it down. Bring it down to a personal level. God prepares us. If you're willing to hear. If you're willing to hear what he has to say, he will prepare you. He prepares you anyway.
Get your room.
Amen. Whatever it takes, God will take and prepare you, your life, prepare your hearing, prepare your mind to be able to hear. Sometimes it takes a dire circumstance. Thank God it doesn't always. Thank God some of us wise up and hear. There's an easier way, isn't there?
Yeah.
But anyway, but he prepares. You see, he prepares you as an individual to hear what he has said. He prepared Peter. He put him in kind of a semi-quasi state of fasting to be able to hear and to receive the message and to receive the vision.